Okay, so let's look at some musical applications for this G major 7 shape. One way you can use a major 7 is in a melodic line that's ascending or descending. A good example would be Led Zeppelin kind of style, okay, where basically we're moving between the root of the chord to the major 7 to the dominant 7. You could play that as an inversion and have more of a kind of folk sound, just playing from the D string. If you take the E major 7 shape and you just play it on the top 4 strings, this enables you to embellish the chord because you have a spare finger. So if that was a progression that went G major 7 to D major 7, bass players playing a G to a D, you can just play top 4 strings, third inversion. And that's the great thing about these inversions. When you start playing just 3 or 4 strings, you have these other fingers free, you start to hear little melody parts, little rhythmic parts, that you can add to these chords. And these are the kind of things that you hear on introductions, second guitar parts. They're very memorable and they often stick with the listener. So it's a great thing to explore and move around. So there I'm using an E major 7 shape, G major 7 chord, third inversion, 7th in the bass. Now let's say we're in a style of music like soul or Motown. We might have a bass line like, and you don't want a big chord with that. So if you go to the D major 7 shape of G major 7, I can just play the top 3 strings. And there's my guitar part, a la Steve Cropper. So, just hitting that. Very simple, but there's enough information in those 3 strings to give you the harmony of that G major 7 chord, okay? Maybe there's a slightly different feel in that position, like again, there's enough space to let the bass line breathe or the riff breathe and just hit that little chord and it does all the work for you. Let's go to the next position. So if we have a C major 7 shape here, I'm playing a G major 7 chord. Let's say we're moving between a G major 7 and a D major 7. Okay? If I just want to play that on the high 4 strings, it's going to look like this. And it's kind of writing its own melody line. See, and that's the thing, as you start to explore these chords, these little melody lines pop out. Another thing you can, when you see these chord shapes, when you come to play melodic lines and soloing, you can actually solo out of the chord shapes. So there's so much information contained within each of these cage shapes. It's very, very helpful. Okay, let's go to the last position. So up here, we have an A major 7 voicing, and I'm just going to strip that down to 3 strings. All right, so that's still a G major 7 because I'm playing the 7th of the chord, the 3rd of the chord, and the 5th of the chord. Okay, the root is implied. And perhaps it's a pop song and I want to arpeggiate. Perhaps it's a 70s progressive rock song, for example, and I want to go. And that's kind of my whole point. As you get into these inversions and you play 2 or 3 strings, 3 or 4 strings, you can let the music dictate how you play the voicings, and you can apply rhythm or fills, to really enhance whatever the song is.